I watched him laugh across the table, easy, carefree, as if the world owed him this moment. "She'll never leave you," he said, leaning back in his chair, the grin wide, confident, the kind that makes you question if he really knows you, or if he just assumes he does. I smiled faintly, letting the words slide over me, but inside a slow chill spread, the kind that whispers that nothing is quite as it seems. Across the room she was stirring her tea, fingers tracing the rim of the cup absent-mindedly, eyes downcast, pretending she hadn't heard. But I caught it, the twitch of her hand, the barely there tightening of her lips. The subtle signal that told me she knew exactly what he just said. And that made my stomach tighten. I sipped my drink, quiet, calculating, letting the silence stretch long enough for her to feel it. The room was warm, humming with casual chatter, but my mind was sharp, aware of every glance, every shift in posture. He laughed again, louder this time, oblivious or willfully blind to the tension building across the table. "She's loyal," he added, shaking his head, a smug kind of certainty in his tone. I nodded slowly, keeping my voice neutral, calm. "I hope so," I said. And that was all I said. Her gaze flicked up for a fraction of a second, quick and hesitant, and that was enough. Enough to see the flash of something darker in her eyes. Not anger, not fear, something quieter, heavier. The kind of betrayal that doesn't scream but lingers like a shadow, brushing your skin and reminding you that appearances can't be trusted. I shifted slightly in my seat, careful to stay calm, careful to let her know I saw it too. I didn't reach for her, didn't accuse, didn't make a scene. I didn't have to. The subtle tension, the unspoken understanding did the work for me. Her hand trembled just a little, fingers brushing against the cup again, and I knew that something had changed. And in that moment, the laughter across the table, the careless confidence, everything seemed hollow. The joke had already died, leaving a residue of truth that no one could ignore. I leaned back, letting the quiet grow, letting her realize that I had noticed, not just what he said but what she felt, what she hid. Her fingers lingered over the cup, tapping a slow rhythm against the porcelain. I could see her hesitation, that tiny pause before every breath, and I understood. She was calculating, weighing, wondering if I had noticed the shift, the subtle betrayal hiding in plain sight. I kept my voice calm, even controlled. "You okay?" I asked softly, not because I needed reassurance, but to give her a chance to reveal what she wasn't saying aloud. She looked up, eyes darting between me and him, and for a moment, I saw the conflict ripple across her face. "Yes," she whispered, but the words sounded fragile, like a paper boat drifting on a stormy sea. I let the silence grow, long enough for the truth to breathe, to make itself felt without forcing it. There was no accusation, no drama, just the quiet weight of knowing. He laughed again, a little too loud this time, and I caught the edge in her reaction. A slight wince, a tightening of her jaw, the subtle twitch that told me she could no longer hide. I didn't need her confession. I could see it in her posture, the small betrayal stitched into her gestures, the way her eyes flickered away when they met mine. "Funny, isn't it?" I said quietly, almost to myself. "How someone can sit across from you and think nothing is shifting, while everything changes in the smallest, quietest ways." She swallowed, hesitating, her gaze dropping again. The heat of realization pressed against her chest, slow and inescapable. I could almost hear the unspoken words she was trying to shield from me. The regret, the fear, the acknowledgement that she had been caught. I didn't reach for her hand. I didn't need to. The room held us in a tense equilibrium, a fragile balance of truth and silence. Every laugh, every glance, every careless comment he made only sharpened the edge of what I already knew. Finally she met my gaze fully, just for a moment, and that was enough. The betrayal was clear now, visible in her eyes, in the way her fingers trembled over the rim of the cup, in the slight slump of her shoulders. She could try to pretend, to hide, to laugh it off, but I had seen it, and seeing it changed everything. In that quiet, controlled tension I realized the game had shifted. I wasn't reacting in anger or fear. I was simply watching, understanding, letting the truth settle where it belonged. And she knew I had seen it all. Every hidden fracture and every unspoken lie. Her hands finally left the cup, clasping together in her lap, a small gesture of submission, though not defeat. She looked up at me, eyes wary, as if testing the waters to see how far I had seen, how much I had understood. She started, but I held up a hand, calm, deliberate. Don't, I said softly. You don't need to explain anything right now. Actions, words, they all matter, yes. But the small moments speak louder. And I've seen enough. Her shoulders sagged slightly, a silent acknowledgement of what she could no longer deny. The betrayal wasn't loud or violent. It was subtle, careful, a shadow that had crept in unnoticed until now. And in that quiet, she realized that hiding it from me had become impossible. I leaned back against the counter, maintaining my calm, my poise, the controlled edge that made the space between us feel heavier. You can choose to fix this, I said. Or you can choose to let it be. But understand this, I am no longer guessing. I am no longer pretending that everything is fine. That ends tonight. Her lips parted slightly, her breath catching for a fraction of a second, and I saw the flicker of fear, maybe even guilt. I didn't mean, she tried, but I let the words hang incomplete because the truth was already clear. I know, I said quietly, voice steady. I know enough to understand. Enough to see the cracks, the hesitation, the betrayal hidden in the small moments. And now it's on you. Not me. She blinked, a slow realization settling in. The room no longer held the careless laughter, the bright smiles, the casual confidence of earlier. It had shifted into a space charged with awareness, where every glance and gesture carried weight. She had been exposed not through confrontation, not through anger, but through quiet observation, through the subtle acknowledgement that I had seen everything. I straightened, letting the tension hang, giving her space to absorb it fully. Decide what matters, I said softly. Decide whether we rebuild, or whether the truth now carries the weight it always should have. She nodded, the smallest of movements, but enough. Enough to show that she understood that nothing could be unseen, nothing ignored, and that the balance had shifted irrevocably. As I stepped away, I felt it, the quiet liberation that comes when truth replaces pretense. The betrayal had been revealed, not through drama, but through the simple power of being seen. And that was enough to change everything.